In this video, what we're going to be doing is taking an amount of information that we know and predicting what will happen in an experiment that we perform. So, to predict the results of a random experiment, you see the two things we're going to follow below. Okay? Step one is that we're going to find the probability of the events contained in the experiment. Now, you don't actually have to find the probability of every single event. You have to read the question that you're given and understand what event you care about. So let's read the first example, which says if you roll a standard dice 900 times, how many times would you predict that the dice would show the number 1? So what step 1 means is that we're going to find the probability of rolling the number 1 if we threw the dice one time. So we're finding the probability of rolling a 1. Now, if you roll a standard dice, there are 6 numbers, 1 through 6. So the 1 is only possible one time out of 6 total. So the probability of rolling a 1 is 1 out of 6. Now that you know that, you want to predict what would happen if you threw that dice 90 times. So what you're going to be doing is taking, for step 2, to apply the probability obtained in step 1 to the number of trials, you're going to take the probability, which is 1 out of 6, and you want to know how many times that success will happen in 90 trials. And then you solve for the variable that you choose for what's missing. So you get 6x equals 90. And then when you solve for x, you get 15. So you predict that you would see 15 ones if you ran this experiment 90 times. So, what I want you to do now that you've seen that one is you're now going to try the next example. So, pause the video and try this example on your own, and then restart the video and we'll go over the answer. Okay, so in this next example, you're supposing that you draw a random card from a standard deck, you record the card you chose, and then you replace it. So that means you're taking the card out, you're writing down what you took out, and then you're putting the card back. Now let's say, for instance, you did that 1,000 times. How many times would you expect to see a card of hearts? Now for this, you need to know how many cards that show hearts there are in a deck to find the probability of that happening once. So remember, your first step is to find the probability of the event that you want in one trial. The probability of drawing a heart in one trial, since there are 13 of them in a deck and there are 52 cards in a deck, that simplifies to 1 out of 4. So you have a 1 out of 4 chance of choosing a heart if you took a card at random. Now you're going to apply that to the experiment. Since there is a 1 out of 4 chance of choosing a heart card, you want to know how many you would expect to see if you ran that experiment 1,000 times. So you cross multiply to solve, and you get 4 times x equals 1,000. So x is equal to 250. So you would expect to see 250 heart cards if you ran that experiment 1,000 times. Now don't get that confused with experimental probability. If you actually ran this experiment, chances are you would not get exactly 250 heart cards, but it's just a prediction. Okay, so after this video, you should be able to take the original information in an experiment and predict what would happen if you simulated the event.